Alright, so far I cut up all the Boston pickling cucumbers and they're looking really good. And I'm just going to keep them in this salted ice bath. So I put probably a cup of pickling canning salt in there, and that's going to help get the liquid out of them so they'll pickle better and they'll be crispier. Okay, so these are the Boston pickling cucumbers, and I've just cut them a little thick. Last time I did them too thin and they were just kind of not very firm. So I've got them in about a cup of pickling salt and ice bath, and you can do this overnight, but I'm probably just going to do it for a few hours, try to keep them nice and cold, and then we'll pickle these. And now I'm going to cut up the rest of my cucumbers. Alright, so I've done a lot of rinsing on these cucumbers. They're still salty, but I'm going to rinse them again. I'm kind of just soaking them, trying to get most of the salt off. I've combined this. This is just the refrigerator pickles. Ooh, kind of blurry. So this is 3.5 cups vinegar, white vinegar, and then 7 1/3 cups water, and then this mix. And we're going to bring this to a heating, and we're going to get our jars sterilized and hot, and they're supposed to be hot when you do this. So this should be interesting, so let's go. Okay, so I have pulled 3 jars out of here. I should put the lid back on that so it boils faster. I don't have like canning setup, so I'm just using these tongs to get things out. And now I'm going to pack these hot jars with these cucumbers, and it says to leave 1 inch of headspace at the top, so that's something to note. I don't have a pressure cooker. You don't have to have one for this. I did this last year and it just wasn't so great because I cut them too thin, like I said. So I'm hoping these will come out better. I'm not putting any of my own dill or anything in these just yet. I will try that on the next round. So to get these filled up, not too full, and wait for the next round. Now these jars aren't going to stay hot because I don't have something big enough to heat all my jars at once. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I'm also warming this up. It says to bring it just past a boil and then remove it from the heat. So that's what we're doing. I'm coming out to the garden because last minute decision. I want some dill in my cucumber, in my pickles, dill pickles. Although this is already a dill thing that I'm making, and I don't have any shoes on. I couldn't find my shoes. So I've heard that this part, once it goes to seed, is actually really flavorful. I'm just gonna grab a couple of these. I'm gonna grab some of the lower. Look at this one, it's kind of falling over already, so take some from that one. Thank you, plant. I'll just throw a couple of those in there for fun. Alright, so I brought these in from the garden. Having me a little green morning smoothie with some kale from the garden. This is really my joy. I love this. Throwing some dill into a few different jars here, and this is done. Took it off the heat, and these next set of jars are ready. So I'm going to pull them out, and yeah, it smells really vinegary, so my daughter's like complaining about it. Alright, these are definitely ready, so I'm going to pull these out. She's coughing because it's so strong. So just be really careful, as this is boiling water. And you don't have any proper tools. I'm going to finish this up. Okay, so now I'm just going to attempt to pour this in here, and I'm keeping this boiling because those are going to that's where my jars are going to go after I seal the tops on there. Oh, and that's messy, and I just spilled it all over. All right, let's see. Half-inch headspace. Oh, it didn't say an inch, it said half-inch headspace. Okay. Well, I hope I have enough of this liquid here. It doesn't really seem like I'm going to. We're just gonna see what happens here. Trying not to spill it. Okay, so this package was only enough to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jars. So I'm gonna go ahead and seal those in the bath, and I actually have another package, but I don't have any white vinegar, so I'm gonna try to use apple cider vinegar and see what happens. So we'll see. Okay, so I've got my jars in here, and I wanted to mention that it's really important before you put the lids on that you dry your lids. So I dried the ring really good, and then I dried this because you want to get a tight seal. So that's something to know. Alright, while the pickles are cooking, I just want to show you another thing that I do. This is a chicken carcass. We had a whole chicken that we roasted for dinner, and I am canning up the broth. So I threw some onion scraps in here and some water, and I cooked this in the slow cooker on high overnight. And it's really neat because the fat in the chicken will actually solidify at the top, and it'll actually create a second seal. You can already see it starting to form there. So you can keep this in your fridge for quite a while, especially with that seal. So makes anything you cook taste delicious. And you're kind of getting this bone broth, which is kind of all the new rage, the healthy stuff from the bones if you cook it on high. So it's not just chicken broth, but bone broth. So that's something else that I'm doing. All right. Okay, so these have been sitting out. So it says to leave them for 24 hours. And I've heard a few of them pop. So they've sucked in pressure, which is good. This one has not. Still does that. If it doesn't, there's two that are like that. If they don't suck in, it's not that bad, but you just have to eat them sooner because they're not going to keep as long, is what it said. So we'll check these in 24 hours and see if they're any good. So update on that, they all sealed. Even those 2 that weren't sealed are now sealed, so looking good. Alright, so we're going to taste these pickles. So we've got the spears.
Yep.
And we got these. Are you ready?
I want one of the spears first.
Okay.
I like spears. Open it.
They definitely sealed.
Oh man, those spears look good. I'll have that one.
Okay, let's give them a taste.
Soft.
A little soft. A little sour.
But good.
Is it good? Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
The taste is good. They're just a little soft.
But good.
All right.
Very.
Here we go. I'm gonna taste these ones.
Good to taste this one. Excuse me. I need to get in here for just a sec.
All right, here we go.
Oh, don't tell me.
Okay.
I'm gonna taste it myself. Oh, it's a big one. It's crispy. Smells good. Crispy!
All right. A little more crispy. I think we'll put them in the fridge and they'll get even crispier. Success.
Nice, guys. Tastes even better.
Let me see. Let me see you get a bite. Do you love pickles? y'all. Thanks for watching. And the pickles are pretty good. A little soft, but I think they'll crunch up in the fridge. So we appreciate you watching our videos as always. Stay happy and yeah, don't be a sour pickle. Want some more?
And make sure to subscribe. And hit a lot of like buttons.